Many men reach a point where they understand the theory of metabolic health, yet still feel uncertain about what applies to them personally. They know metabolism is complex. They understand that stability, buffering capacity, and regulation matter. But when they try to apply general principles, results remain inconsistent. This creates frustration, not because the information is wrong, but because information alone assumes a level of stability that may not yet exist. Most metabolic advice is designed for a stable system. It assumes predictable responses. It assumes that inputs lead to reasonably consistent outputs. But when regulation is fragile, the same input can produce very different effects from one person to another, or even from one day to the next in the same person. This is where many men become confused. They are not failing to follow advice. The advice is not wrong. The system it is being applied to is simply not stable enough to respond predictably yet. When buffering capacity is low, small variations matter more. Sleep differences, stress exposure, timing shifts, or workload changes can all influence outcomes disproportionately. In this state, the body does not process inputs quietly. It compensates, amplifies, and reacts. This makes outcomes appear random. One week things seem to improve. The next week they regress. Men often interpret this as inconsistency in effort, when it is actually inconsistency in regulation. This is why generic recommendations feel unreliable during recovery. They lack context. They do not account for starting state. They do not adjust for sensitivity. They assume resilience that is not yet returned. As a result, men often jump from one strategy to another, not because they lack discipline, but because they lack a framework for interpretation. Without that framework, every outcome feels like feedback about willpower or correctness, rather than feedback about system state. Interpretation becomes more important than instruction when regulation is unstable. Knowing what a response means matters more than knowing what to do next. A temporary increase in hunger may signal sensitivity rather than failure. A dip in energy may reflect ongoing recalibration rather than regression. Without understanding this, men often overcorrect. They push harder when they should be stabilizing. They restrict more when the system is already strained. These reactions slow recovery rather than accelerate it. This is where guidance becomes valuable, not because it provides more rules, but because it helps translate responses into meaning. It helps distinguish between noise and signal. It helps identify when progress is unfolding normally, even if unevenly. Most men do not need more information. They need help interpreting what their body is communicating during recovery. As stability improves, interpretation gradually becomes less critical. Responses become predictable again. Effort maps to outcome more reliably. Confidence returns naturally. But until that point, understanding the system matters more than controlling it. Recovery is not about forcing alignment. It is about restoring conditions where alignment happens automatically. In the next video, we will explore why trying to optimize too early often backfires, and why stabilization must come before fine-tuning. This video is for educational purposes only. This is not medical advice. Always consult your physician.